Hello, fungi friends. Check this out. I have a massive cauliflower mushroom, just gargantuan. So this is Sparassis radicata. I found this growing at the base of a Doug fir tree, and this gigantic pile of egg noodle-looking stuff is a mushroom, believe it or not, and it smells really, really nice. It's kind of like piney and light, a little terpenic and citrusy. It's one of my favorite edible mushrooms because it has this incredible sort of slightly crunchy, cartilaginous, noodle-like texture. And so my favorite thing to do with these is to actually break them up into noodle-like pieces and then use them as a pasta substitute in stuff like stroganoff or carbonara. And you know, it's a gluten-free thing, but you can put gluten in it if you want. It's just a really delicious mushroom that happens to have great synergy as sort of a noodle. It's also really good if you just take, cut cross sections of this and sear them off. It gets really delicious and brown and kind of sweet. But for this one, I am hosting a big dinner for my mushroom club on Thursday, and I'm gonna break this thing up. So that's what I'm showing you guys. Doing it here in real time. So I'm gonna sort of break this thing apart, and then we're gonna wash it because there's a lot of junk inside of this thing because there's a lot of surface area inside of this. Like, see, this is the sort of central stem that it grows out of. I can hold it just like a cauliflower. So I'm gonna cut out this center stem. Some of the parts are a little bit brown. When I picked this, there was a lot of sort of brown, nasty looking stuff underneath, and I left a lot of that in the woods, but I can still see there's, some moss and probably some bugs and stuff hiding inside of this thing. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut this open, break it apart, wash it off, and then give it a boil. And I'm just showing you guys what I'm doing as I go through it. So I'm also gonna film a little bit so I can make a video about this later. So excuse me if I'm sort of talking to myself because I'll be filming. Whoa, check out the size of this massive cauliflower mushroom. I'm gonna show you guys how I clean this and cook this. Let's go. Underneath, there's a big old stem, just like an actual cauliflower, and I'm gonna cut this out and remove some of the brown bits, and then break up all these lobes, wash them really well, and then go ahead and give them a quick blanch or boil so that I can use this for my mac and cheese bar. Okay, I don't know how much of this I'm actually going to be able to film, at least not easily, but see what we can do. I just need some to put this up on something, I hope. Okay, there we go. Alrighty, let's get to it. Good taps. So, sort of removing this tough old core, I can see lots of little bits inside. So I'm gonna go ahead and just try to break this apart, and we'll put it in some water to soak. Ooh, that was satisfying. Woo! Wow, this is turning into a very big pile of cauliflower mushroom very quickly. So I got a couple of brown bits here. I'll just trim them off. And I'll put these outside. I don't have a Doug fir in my yard, but put them in the compost at least. Sometimes you can also find these growing on pine trees, but more often than not, here on the West Coast, it's a big Doug fir. Because of all this internal structure, they tend to be pretty dirty on the inside. This one looks pretty clean overall, but I'm still gonna have to soak it to get little bits of dirt off, and I'm sure There's still a bug hiding in here somewhere. Because I just took a ladybug outside and put it outside. I saw one crawling all over it. This really is a beautiful specimen. Just look at this. I've found cauliflowers like this size before, but not all the other stuff. This is definitely the biggest one I've found myself. Wow. Oh, there's a little spider friend. Okay, we gotta get you out of here, buddy. You've got to go outside. I'm gonna bring you outside real quick. Put him where he belongs. Okay. I'm back. Wow, this is so much cauliflower. Kind of absurd. All right, this is big enough, small enough. I don't know. I can probably soak these. I'll break them up more before I cook them, but I'm just trying to expose the surface area. This is just crazy. Look how much cauliflower mushroom that one chunk just turned into. It's filling my entire board. Oh my goodness. Okay, I might have to cook this in batches. I have to clean this in batches because there's just so much of it. Okay, so here's a bowl of water. And I'm gonna continue to break this up, toss it in, and give it a good soak. I'm probably just gonna be doing this for a while. You can salt the water if you want, but you don't have to. And I'm gonna go through multiple changes of water, so I'm not gonna bother to salt it. I have salted the cooking liquid though, so I will definitely season these as part of cooking them. So I'm going to serve most of this as sort of a noodle substitute with my mac and cheese bar. But I'll probably saute some as well because it's just really good. Really tasty mushroom. Oak. So soaking cauliflower mushroom to get off any dirt or bugs that might be inside. Do a little agitation, and I'll go ahead and cook this in some hot water. And you can see the water gets kind of cloudy. That's from all the spores dropping into the water. Because this is a mushroom, and it makes spores. That's the purpose of mushrooms. I get a lot of questions from people who are like, well, what's the purpose of this mushroom? And my answer to all of them is to make spores. It's literally why mushrooms exist. I know what people are usually trying to ask is, what can I use this for? Can I eat it? Is it medicine? Will it get me, zonked out? To which most of the time, mushrooms are just mushrooms. Mushrooms exist to spread spores. They don't necessarily have to have a purpose or reason for us as humans, because they are mushrooms, and so they exist for themselves. Like I said, not everything has to have a purpose for humans. Some things just exist because that's the way that nature works. We are lucky that so many mushrooms have utility to us, but I am also just appreciative of the vast number of mushrooms that exist, because mushrooms are cool. And they're there to help the mycelium below reproduce. That's said, the point of a mushroom is it's making sexual spores, which help with long-term adaptability. So, mating in fungi is pretty different from the way that plants and animals mate. Sort of fundamentally more complicated. It's hard to explain quickly, so I'm not even going to try. It's also hard to generalize about fungi, because mushrooms and fungi as a whole can do things pretty differently. There are some general trends, and that's what I covered in my book, but okay, so I'm going to strain this off, and then we'll give it a boil. I'll try to use my fingernail here to get off any bits of dirt and other stuff I can still see on here. Okay, let's go strain this off. Alrighty, boy. Bring you guys over here to the sink. Water that came off these is kind of yellow. Interesting. Okay, I'm going to refill this so I can keep washing this stuff. And look at all that pretty cauliflower. Isn't that really cool? So even after soaking, there's still some little bits of dirt and stuff on here, but that's part of why I'm giving them a boil. So that'll help remove anything else that's on there. It will also collapse the volume, because this thing was taking up so much room in my fridge, I haven't had room to do much else. I need to go buy some chicken and some pork as the main sort of entrees for my dinner. But I've been holding up buying them because this mushroom was taking up all of the room in my fridge. So, I'll go ahead and drop this in our water here. Try to film this. Hang on one sec. There we go. All right. Okay. Only dropped a little bit of it on the floor. All right. There we go. So, back to processing more cauliflower mushroom. It's kind of crazy just how utterly massive this chunk of mushroom is, and how much more of it I still have to process and cook. It's going to be at least probably 3 loads, 3 separate boils of this mushroom. Let's get something to put all this into once it's cooked. Goodness. Try and break it up in sort of bite-sized pieces, because if I'm going to use this as a pasta type thing, then you don't want a really huge chunk. It's fun to break up this mushroom. It really is. Cool texture. The first time I ever found this, I found like a 15-pounder in Oregon with my friends Tiffany and Dan, and they let me pick it, even though they're the ones who found it. And it was a video for me that early on went viral. Usually the clip goes viral whenever I posted me picking this 15-pound Sparassis, because the joy in my face is just palpable, and I was so stoked. But I had some of that same elation and joy when I found this one. And this one I found. There was no one else there. It was just me and the giant mushroom. So I wish I'd taken even more like footage of it, It's hard to, when you're foraging, sometimes you just gotta like pick something and keep moving. You can't just make like an hour-long YouTube video about it. I mean, you can, but then you miss out on all the other mushrooms. And I picked so many porcini that day that it was really worth it. So. Oh my god. Okay, we'll do one more chunk. Okie doke. I'm just waiting for this other bit of Sparassis in the pot to just kind of cook through. It cooks pretty quick, but I'm giving it an extra like 30 seconds here. And let these soak for another minute or two. But I'm just going to keep going. Like I said, probably at least 3 batches, maybe even 4, but I'm hoping I can get it done in 3, because I got stuff to do. I got to go shopping and keep buying things for this dinner. Like I said, I had to cook this and process this, so I have room in the fridge for more stuff, because this cauliflower mushroom is taking up like half my freaking fridge. gonna sit here and just pick off little Doug fir needles, and maybe it sort of rises to the surface here. So really between this and the boil, it's like a double wash kind of thing. Okay, I'm just looking at the stuff that's cooking, and despite all my efforts to get it really nice and clean, there's still some Doug fir needles in here. They're kind of hard to pick out. You can see them. Whether or not I can get them is a separate thing. Let's see, come on, get out of here. Okay, this looks decently cooked down. That was the timer for some beans going in a pressure cooker, but they haven't actually come to pressure yet. They're getting there. Let's give them a couple of minutes. Okay. Now this, I just want to see this is actually like coming up to a boil. Just to make sure that these are like well cooked, because I'm going to serve them as pasta, so a lot of this may not get cooked again before serving, which is, for most mushrooms I will cook them again after doing sort of an initial cook. And like I said, for some of this I'll probably saute it and get it really nice and crispy. But for the moment, I just want to make sure that this is nice and cooked through. It's almost there. And I'm going to try to get it out of the water so that I don't have to wait for a new batch of water to come up to temp. I'll just keep using this. And then I may even use the stock from this to help me cook some soup or some beans. I'm not sure yet. I'm going to make like a lobster mushroom bisque, probably with chanterelles, and maybe I'll use the cauliflower mushroom stock that I'm making right now as the base for that mushroom soup. It's a great way to sort of reuse stuff. And since this water will probably have lots of little bits of stuff in it, what I'll do is I'll let it settle, and then I'll decant off the, oh, that's heavy. I'll decant off the liquid so that I'm not picking up all the little bits of junk. Okay, I'm going to show you guys, here's my big pile of steaming Sparassis. Dump this in here to drain. Okay. Alright. I just forgot. I'm going to do one little thing just to film it. Okay, so now we're going in with more cauliflower mushroom. Woo! That's a piece. All right. batch in, and that'll boil away while we turn our attention to cleaning some more. So I bet this sort of brothy stuff is going to get a really nice brown color from all the mushroom that we're blanching in it. And ideally it'll have some pretty good flavor. So. All right. Okay, move you guys back to the board, and we'll just keep breaking up cauliflower mushroom. So many Doug fir needles. I'm trying to be so careful to not get them in there, but cauliflower mushrooms have a lot of surface area because of the way that they grow. So inherently, they just tend to have a lot of stuff in them. They're also indeterminate mushrooms. So a lot of mushrooms, like say like a portobello, start out as a tiny version of themselves, and then they just get bigger because all the cells are super dense, and then they expand as the mushroom grows. And a cauliflower mushroom is more like a polypore in that it is indeterminate. So it starts out tiny, but then it just keeps growing bigger and bigger, not with a set body plan, but just grows bigger because it can. And it kind of keeps forming structures and growing out like almost like a coral reef kind of thing, or like the rings on a tree. So that's called indeterminate. So in theory, this thing could have gotten even bigger. My experience says that at some point they start getting moldy on the edges. So I think I picked this one pretty much in its prime. I found a lot of cauliflowers that are too old or too young. No, I mean, not a lot. They're not super common, but I found some. And this one, I nailed this one. This one was absolutely perfect, and I'm so stoked I get to share it with, like, 30 other mushroom nerds who I'm making dinner for. That was the other thing too. If I found this alone and I was just trying to figure out what to do with it all, it would be kind of overwhelming. But I knew immediately that I would be able to feed it to a bunch of people who love mushrooms, and so that makes me feel really good, because I don't feel like I'm wasting anything. I left quite a bit of the mushroom behind too in its natural habitat to continue spreading spores, but it's really cool to be able to share this with my mushroom community. And there'll probably be some people at the dinner who've never tried this before, so I think that'll be fun for them. This is a bucket list mushroom for a lot of people. It was a bucket list mushroom for me until I found it. Now it's not a bucket list, now it's just a favorite. It's definitely in my top 10, if not top 5 edible mushrooms. I wish that we'd cultivate it, because in theory you can. Pretty sure in China they figured out how to cultivate it, which is really cool. Because this is a great, I think, for stuff like shark fin soup. This would be a great textural replicate. So instead of eating shark fin, you could have cauliflower mushroom. And there's a lot of things like that where mushrooms could substitute for a meat product. Especially an unsustainable meat product like shark fin, which we really shouldn't be killing sharks right and left. I don't think people understand how destroyed the ocean is because of humanity and how much we've just like stolen all its resources and fucked up the ecosystems, but it's sad. I've done a lot of scuba diving and sailing and other ocean-centric activities in my life, and the ocean ain't what it used to be. And it's because of human activity. And it's not just one thing, it's so many things, but either way, it's sad. Okay. Great. All right. We'll come back over here and we'll grab all this out of here. Let's skim a little bit of this stuff off, just because I'm sure there's bits and pieces of things in that foam. Mushrooms have a lot of protein and can cause foam to come up. But there's also little bits of needles and probably some, I don't know, I want to believe there's no bugs in here, but there's probably still a bug in here somewhere. But that's why we're boiling it. Okay. Yeah, broth has got a really nice color to it. Yeah, I can definitely use that. And I have the super. I'm gonna make like a vegan pasta sauce too, because I made a bunch of cheesy pasta sauce, and remembered that I was like, all right, there might be a vegan, so I better make like a cheeseless version. I also was gonna make the cheese version gluten-free, and then I accidentally put in a powder that had wheat in it. So I am gonna make a gluten-free vegan pasta sauce kind of thing with some butternut squash and some cashew and nutritional yeast. But it should be pretty good with this mushroom. And I'll have pasta, actual gluten pasta for people to go with the cheese and the mushrooms and all the stuff. Get the junk off here. So much freaking mushroom. Pretty absurd. 3 full pots worth to cook this one single mushroom. That is impressive, I must say. Okay, so if anyone has questions, I know I saw a couple pop up earlier, but I didn't answer them because I was busy cooking. So if you do have questions, feel free to ask. I don't know how to look at the questions here on YouTube. Oh, there we go. Okay. Nice mushroom. Looking for flesh. Nice looking flesh. Yeah, that was good. Someone had said you saw clumps in Massachusetts. Cool. Oh, yeah, someone said this is worth paying for, but I, per usual, do all of my stuff online for free. And I did write a book, so if you guys like what I do, please buy my book, because I've never asked anyone to spend money on anything that I've done. I just provide free education. And the one thing that the way that capitalism works is to publish a book, you have to pay for the book. So to get it published, it does require money. And so my publisher, 10-Speed Press, I think priced it very fairly at $27. And on Amazon, you can buy it for like $15 now if you really want to get it cheap. But either way, if you like what I do and you enjoy my videos and my content, please buy my book, because that is the one thing that I really think is worth paying for when it comes to culinary, when it comes to mushroom stuff. And there's culinary stuff in there, there's foraging stuff, there's science stuff, there's sort of everything you ever wanted to know about mushrooms and fungi is in my book. I put a lot of work, time, sweat equity, all the stuff into it. So that's what I would ask if you guys want to support me or you like what I do. Please buy my book. And there's also like a foraging guide, sort of companion guide that is coming out in December. It goes with my book, and right now there's like a package deal for that. I need to put that link up on my website. Actually, I've been forgetting to do that for quite some time, but Sparassis, yes. Yeah, sure things. Jam George, if you have any questions about cauliflower mushroom, the other thing I've seen done with this mushroom that I really liked, I've only had it once, but a chef I think must have dusted it in like cornstarch or something like that, and then he fried it, and it came out really crispy and light and airy and delicious, and served it with like a little blue cheese dip. That was phenomenal. If I wasn't cooking for so many people, I'd consider doing some version of that. But this is the easiest way to process this very large mushroom and deal with a lot of it at once. So that's what I'm doing. Sure, I'm from Massachusetts, so I visit frequently to see my parents. I have never seen a cauliflower mushroom out there. I go to Massachusetts to pick my taki. That's the thing. That's sort of my white whale out there that I love. It's not really a white whale. I find it all the time, but I adore both maitake and Sparassis. Those are, in my book, those are 5-star mushrooms. So I don't really like the sort of way that people rate edibility, because it's either choice or edible or not edible or toxic, and there's a lot of like confusion within that. So in my book, I propose this sort of 5-star system where like what I call is a 5-star is an incredible edible, like a Sparassis, like a cauliflower mushroom. 4-star is great. So I rated chanterelles and porcini as 4-star. Come fight me. 3 is good. So like an oyster mushroom, portobello would be like a 3-star. And then 2-star is sort of fair mediocre. It's stuff like maybe a swillis. And then most mushrooms that are not toxic but might not be palatable, I rate it as like a 1-star in terms of edibility. And so that way when I'm out on forays and people say, is this edible? I can say, well, that's like a 1-star mushroom or a 2-star mushroom. So you could eat that. You can fuck around and find out, but you might not actually enjoy it. So for foragers, I usually recommend you stick between like the 5 and 3-star mushrooms. So this is a 5-star mushroom. I unequivocally love Sparassis, and I'm so excited to share it with my mushroom club and other nerds who think the way that I do. I mean, no one thinks the way that I do, but they have similar interests at least. Okay, I'm just waiting for this to come up to temp. Just a little bit of a boil on it. Again, I'm going to be sort of serving this as pasta, and I just want to make sure it's I'm not going to get anyone sick because it's undercooked. Ooh, resinous polypores are really good. You know, there's some really great foragers in Massachusetts. I don't know about the Southwest in particular. There's a guy I follow called CT Harvest. He's down in Connecticut, and he does a lot of cultivation. He's really interesting and super smart. There's Maria Pinto. She's in the Boston Mycology Club, but she's sort of up in like Jamaica Plain. She goes down to Cape Cod sometimes. There's Tyler from the Mushroom Shop, Mushrooms for My Friends. This is all like mostly people I know through Instagram. Oh, finally, my beans have come to temp. Okay. Whoa, no, don't do that. Okay, come on. Are you gonna get to a boil? You gonna get there, my friend? There we go. The beans are now rocking. Kind of looks like steamed clams. Yeah, it does. And honestly, like mushrooms have such a sort of seafood-like texture a lot of the times that I could totally put these in a chowder with some bacon, and it would probably taste somewhat like clam chowder. You know, I could use all this stock too to make a soup. And I'm actually going to make like a lobster mushroom chanterelle bisque, and I think I'll use this Sparassis stock in that, so that it'll be like 3 different mushrooms in that soup. And that'll make a really nice kind of like biscuity chowder type thing. I'm gonna blitz it, so it'll be nice and smooth. So it'll be more like a bisque than a chowder. But you know, if I left it chunky and it had a bunch of cream, it would be chowder. Say chowder, Frenchie. Chowder. Hopefully you guys get that Simpsons reference. It's one of my favorites. So Jam George, I would recommend you check out iNaturalist, and you can scout about what's growing in your area and what's happening right now. Organic suspenders. I also love the resinous polypore. I've only eaten it like a handful of times because it doesn't grow out here on the West Coast, so I don't see it that often. But I did eat it when I was in Michigan a few years ago, and I've seen it in New Hampshire, just didn't get around to eating it that time. But it was very meaty. It was like the most like pork of any mushroom I've ever tried. You know, chicken of the woods is sort of a chicken-like texture, and beefsteak has not at all a meat-like texture. It's crunchy and sour, but you know, looks like meat. Sparassis is hard to describe texturally. It's probably more like, you know, like pig's ear than anything else. Almost crunchy, cartilaginous. Yeah, maitake is really meaty, but again, not porky. And resinous polypore is really dense and meaty, chewy, and delicious. Meropilus is pretty good too. That's one that's sort of up there in terms of like the meatiness, but it gets tough super quick. And I think resinous polypore is sort of similar in that if it gets old at all, it gets pretty tough. But, so I'm just skimming off some of this stuff that's rising to the surface because I want a nice clean broth for later if I'm going to use this for soup. Just making sure this is cooked and that there's not too many little bits of needles and stuff in there, because that's not good. Okay, great. I think we got it. This is a mighty, mighty pile of Sparassis mushroom. I mean, it's a lot smaller than it was. It's still a lot of mushroom. I'm going to have to find a big Tupperware to fit this into. Come here. Okay, look at the color of that broth. It's really interesting. Taste it, make sure it tastes good, but I think taste anything like cauliflower mushroom, I think it's going to be pretty good. So, just going to cool this down and take a sip, see what we think. Oh yeah, that's nice. That tastes really good. Okay, totally. I'll use that to make soup. Thumbs up. Waste not, want not. And, you know, here we go. Here's your culmination. We went from one whole raw cauliflower to one whole cooked cauliflower. And it's still a significant portion. This is not a small pan. This is a pretty big pan. This is fully like 2 pounds of mushroom or something at least. I don't know. It's a lot. Here's the carnage that is my board, and then sort of the pile of stuff that I'm gonna go toss in the recycling. I wish I could put this back in the woods, but I'm not close to the woods, so not recycling, compost. Put it in the compost. If I could find it, maybe find a Doug fir nearby. Go for a walk in my neighborhood, see if someone's got one in the yard, and I just dump this on there. That'd be cool to harvest the Sparassis in my neighborhood. You know, I find chicken of the woods around here, but I have never found a Sparassis in Napa. That would be quite something. Okay, well, cheers, guys. Thanks for hanging out. Appreciate you being here. Again, I am basically going to take all this cooked cauliflower mushroom. When I go to service it, I'll probably warm it up in a pan through a quick saute or another quick blanch. And they've got this amazing cheese sauce. I mean, with like truffle butter, and I use sodium citrate to get everything emulsified. So this is like nacho cheese texture, but it has amazing flavor because it's not just American cheese. So I'll mix these things together, maybe a little bacon, green onions on top, that kind of thing, and some pasta if I want. But yeah, that's what I'm going to do. Should be delicious. Hope you guys enjoy this. If you like what I do, please pick up my book. It's called Passport to Kingdom Fungi. It's available everywhere, and I put a lot of work into it, so I hope you enjoy. Okay, adios. Bye.